Welcome to the Hollis Chapman Show, where we celebrate the power of words and the beauty of storytelling. Join us on this journey as we delve into the minds of successful authors and small business owners who have mastered the art of crafting captivating narratives that inspire, educate, and entertain. Prepare to be inspired as we explore the boundless possibilities that come from sharing stories and experiences that shape our lives and ignite our passions. Through heartfelt conversations and insightful discussions, we uncover the wisdom and creativity that fuel these incredible individuals in their pursuit of greatness. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let the magic of storytelling transport you to new worlds and perspectives. Get ready to be inspired, informed, and uplifted as we embark on this storytelling journey together. Stay tuned for an episode filled with wisdom, inspiration, and the power of words. Welcome to the Hollis Chapman Show. Say where stories come alive. Let's begin this adventure together. Don't miss out on the opportunity to connect with some of the most talented and compelling voices in literature today. Tune in and let the journey begin.
Hello and welcome to the Hollis Chapman Show. I am Hollis. Hey, happy Saturday, everyone. I'm glad you're all here. Our special guest just clicked in. Gary, I don't see it, but I hope you're there. So that's great. I guess it's Colin from Canada, our friends from up north. Very excited. Our friend here has 30 years in business, including 2+ decades of working with lawyers and law firms owners globally. If you're doing anything for that long period of time, you got to be good at what you do. You really do. So very excited to have him here, talk about his new book, talk about his business. Let's welcome to the show our special guest. It's Saturday. We thank him for doing this on Saturday, Mr. Gary Mitchell. Hello, Gary. Can you hear me? Let me see if we can get Gary. All right. So I think my MC. All right, so Gary's trying to reboot it in. It's sure using Chrome or Edge as to restart the thing. So hopefully he's using one of those. We'll see. But again, a little bit about Gary, 30 years in business, including two decades of working with lawyers and law firm owners globally. Gary is considered a go-to for law firm owners looking to grow their firms while gaining more freedom. Gary, I can see that you're trying to get in. I don't see you. Riverside saying Gary Mitchell's advice not accessible. Ensure using Chrome or Edge and ask for browser restart. So hopefully you can try Chrome or Edge, Gary. That's what Riverside said. So again, when you get new platforms, it's amazing how new things pop up for problems, stuff like that. So he's gonna try his best to get in. We appreciate that, and we look forward to talking to him. But again, before we start, I hopefully everybody's enjoying FIFA World Cup. We talk about the numbers. I don't really, excuse me, I don't really watch soccer, but Go USA. And when they say the numbers of people who do follow soccer, and this is not the United States. The United States, I think soccer is maybe the 5th or 6th sport that we watch. But globally, they're talking about billions of people. That's amazing. Gary, right there, I can see your name there, but I don't see you actually wonderful looking face. So I'm not sure if you're using Chrome or Edge. So do your best, sir. And I apologize. Now, I'm learning new things all the time. I'm trying to figure this stuff out too. But again, let me see. We're talking about Gary. He's an attorney who has a new book out, The "And" Approach is his new book, and we'll talk about that. So we want him to tell us about himself and his new book. Tell us what it means to be the "and" approach. I want to ask him that big question, the "and" approach. What does that mean? How does philosophy differ from traditional methods of law firm growth? Okay, law firm growth. How do well, I'm in Tempe, Arizona, and we travel a lot through Arizona. And boy, I tell you what, every mile you see these big billboards of law firms promoting their business. There's a lawyer everywhere. There's lawyers all over. And again, there's statistics on lawyers. There are more lawyers out there. I don't want to say the wrong number, but it's thousands of lawyers. So they got to find ways to get business. They really do. I mean, you go up I-10 here in Arizona, every mile, there's a big, huge billboard of local lawyers looking, promoting their business. So it's a very competitive business. Hi, Gary. I see that you're trying. It says a big G right in the middle of the thing, but I don't see a face, so you may not be able to talk either. But I'm talking lawyers. I'm talking about how competitive the law business is, how hard it is for lawyers to get new clients and new business. When you talk lawyers, people probably wait till the last minute because it could be a little intimidating and stuff like that. Depends on what you want. It depends on what you're going to see one for. And if you're a wealthy person, yeah, your favorite lawyer in your pocket. You have them sitting right there waiting to you. If you're just a regular Joe, you got to call around. You ask them for the best price. Public defenders. That's a whole different story there. Okay, bad and good and different, but we need them in our country. You need around the world public defenders. I know I can afford, $1,000 an hour for lawyers, but it's amazing. So Gary and his skill set, what he does, he goes around to help lawyers grow their firm. What a great idea, right? What it is, it marketing? Is it what do they do? Do they sit there and make sure that they do a great job so they can get referrals? There's very seldom people refer, oh yeah, I had a lawyer, I'm gonna refer you to my lawyer. I don't think that's happened as much as other things in the industries. Hi, Gary. Yeah, I still don't see you, sir. But we're talking lawyers. They're an important part of our world, but it's a hard part of our world. Lawyers is just it's hard to find a word about what do you say about lawyers. So I mean, if you meet somebody and say, "What do you do?" I'm a lawyer. They love it. They appreciate it. But again, that's maybe the last call or maybe the first call. Depends on what you're doing. If you get in a car accident, we see law firms consistently marketing about if you get in an accident, it is not your fault. Give us a call. I mean, I see that every night on TV. If you get in an accident, and it's not your fault, give us a call. Okay. If you have, medical malpractice, you need a lawyer for medical malpractice, give us a call. That's all over the place. There's so much lawyer people sit there marketing their business. I don't even know how the heck they make money because they're paying so much money just to promote and market themselves. Gary, again, I see your name. I see a big G there, but I don't see you. So again, you're doing your best. I thank you. But again, it says Gary Mitchell's device not accessible. Ensure using Chrome or Edge and ask for browser restart. And I said, what should I do? Riverside's having issues getting a signal from the camera or mic for both. Use Chrome or Edge. Okay, so again, I don't know what you use up there. And it's, again, I have a lot of clients call in from Canada. So I think you're the first who are doing the visual of Riverside because we just moved to Riverside maybe three or 4 weeks ago. So this is new. So again, I will chat with support after the show. But I'm trying to put out the best content I possibly can for the people people who have joined us. Okay. But again, thank you. Oh, and it's a learning process for everybody. Okay, so I apologize, but lawyers, what's your comments and what's your thoughts on lawyers? Let me see if I can. I'm going to type something up so I have something to talk about. What are your thoughts on lawyers? Okay, again, Gary, you popped there, you did the best you can. My question, okay, let me see. I'm going to read something I just typed into Google. Again, I'm just trying to fill the time now. Okay. Gary's doing his best to get in. Actual recording is higher quality. I'm trying to figure out something I can do, but really much I can't do now. But they say about the accessibility of on your end. So you're doing your best, sir. I know. Thank you so much for doing your best. Lawyers are vital professionals who uphold the rule of the law, protect constitutional rights, and navigate complex legal systems. While their services can be expensive and they sometimes face harsh public scrutiny, right? They are indispensable for individuals and businesses dealing with disputes, transactions, and regulatory challenges. You know, if you have a lot of money, you probably have a lawyer on retainer. Most of us don't have that much money to have a lawyer on retainer, so it makes it a little different, makes it a little challenging. I guess that's the reason why we see so much promotion and marketing and TV ads on lawyers. Because those lawyers, I know they must be fighting for business themselves. And I was very interested to see what Gary had to say about helping law firms grow. Because again, just like a dentist, we don't usually go to them until we absolutely need them. And so in the meantime, law firms still gotta, they still gotta eat. They gotta pay their bills. So how does Gary help them do that? How does he help them grow? Is it the marketing? Is it the billboards? What is it? So those are a great question I was gonna ask him. So again, he's trying his best to get in. And I don't think it's something I can do. My image is going okay, but I guess I'm looking at this little troubleshooting from Riverside. It says ensure using Chrome or Edge and ask for a browser restart. That's what this says. That's what that little troubleshooting thing came from Riverside. And that's all they tell me about. Okay. So more stuff on lawyer. The lawyer mindset. Okay. The lawyer mindset. Again, you got to admire a lawyer. You got a lot of schooling you got to go through and get to that point. You're real smart, you're real dedicated, and you do really like to help people. You like to help, you really do. Lawyers are trained to analyze problems quickly and spot risk and look at situations from multiple perspectives. Good lawyers are defined not just by how fast they provide answers, but their quality of judgment, self reflection, and ability to remain objective. Okay, that's a lawyer. That's how they're trained. That's what they do. Okay, so us as the public, what do we do? What's the public perception of a lawyer? Public opinion regarding lawyers varies widely. While many view them as essential advocates, some find them as adversarial, risk averse, or financially out of reach. Because clients typically encounter attorneys during highly stressful situations. Yes, yes. Divorces, oof, litigations, criminal charges. Perceptions can be heavily influenced by emotional factors and inherent stress of legal process. So, a divorce, you know, I got a divorce years ago. Now, last thing I want to do is sit down in front of a lawyer with my ex. So we just dealt with it out, court, da 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 da. Da. Not only got to pay her, but you got to pay him or her as a lawyer. I said, you know what? That's not gonna go through all that. You got a law firm, you got divorce, you got children, stuff like that. That's rough. So lawyers, yeah, it's tough, but necessary. Very, very necessary. The law firm. So perception of a lawyer can be heavily influenced by emotional factors. So you go to a situation and you're in court, all of a sudden you maybe got a public defender sitting there, and then the other guy's got this high priced law firm. Holy smokes. Is that stressful or what? Is that gonna be something like, oh, geez, this is not gonna end well, you know? What's their thoughts on public defenders? Years ago, I got a public defender because I got a traffic violation. Long story short, what I do, this is a strange feeling, a public defender. Strange, strange feeling. I won't go into detail, but it's just like, you know what? Let's just let me get out of here. Pay the fine, whatever. Let me just get out of here. Weird. Public defender is weird. But again, we need it. We need to be represented by somebody, right? Okay. Public exceptions, practical advice for hiring a lawyer. Okay. So I'm sure. All right. Let me see. I do hope we can reschedule once we find out what the issue was. Best Gary. Okay. So Gary gave it his best shot. He tried. He said he tried everything, stuff like that. So again, has not been a good week for me getting our guests and people. I apologize for that. But again, we're talking lawyers and we need them. We'd like to get them back. This is the first time that I ever sit there and experienced that. They said they need to, you need Chrome or Edge. I don't, again, since I'm not there, I don't know what's how to advise them on what to do. So I said, thank you to Gary. Again, I'm trying to put out 30 minutes of content for you people who are listening to the show. Okay. And these shows right now at this point is not live, so I can edit it and fix it, put some stuff out there. But um, okay, so let me go back to where I was at. Okay. So practical advice for hiring a lawyer. So you got think you're going through a divorce, you get in an accident, litigation stuff, criminal charges, stuff like that. So what's practical advice for hiring a lawyer? If you're considering hiring an attorney, you can evaluate them based on specialization. So that's important. You don't want to get a real estate attorney with criminal charges. That's not going to work out too well. And whatever. Okay. So specialization. Ensure that your practice area aligns with your specific needs. Example, family law, intellectual properties, or criminal defense. So make sure, just like in marketing, you don't want to market your show to everybody because you're going to lose. You're not going to get anybody. Okay. So make sure you market. If I'm talking to authors and small business owners, that's who I market to. That's who the Hollis Chapman market to. That's who we get on the show. Authors, small business owners. Same things you law for. Don't just go to any guy, gal. If you want family law, who has no idea about family law, it's not going to work out well for you. Okay. Communication and compassion. That's important. Look for professionals who are accessible, listen to your concerns, and communicate in plain language. Right? Is that important? Right? Okay. You can talk to. You can sit there and they're not trying to rush you out. Sign this contract so we can get paid. No, you know, just like I go into a doctor. I've had doctors before going to the VA where he felt real rush. My last 5, 6 years at the VA with doctors, it's been very pleasant. They come in, sit down, talk to you. What's going on? Yes, yes. You got to do this, Hollis. You got to do that, Hollis. Perfect. Talk to you. Hour later, not rushed. That's a wonderful feeling. It really is. So I think, the doctor's office and lawyers and stuff like that, when you're sweet and talking to them, same kind of thing. The communication, the compassion. You must feel that from them. If not, you may not be in the right place. Like I heard a commercial on one law firm, Morgan and Morgan, popped in my head. If you don't like the lawyer, you can fire him. You can move on. A Morgan and Morgan law firm, huge. I guess they're one of the biggest law firms in the country. And their law firm, they got lawyers in each state. And again, some things as a novice person won't know that, you go to a law firm. Well, none of the lawyers can do, they're not licensed in Arizona. They're only licensed in Mexico or in New Mexico, excuse me. Okay. So you got to know that. You got to understand that. So you got to do your research. You got to do your homework. You make sure they have lawyers in each state that you're being represented. Okay. Billing structure. Are they billing you as soon as you walk into the building? You got to figure that out. Because they aren't cheap. Boy, that clock is ticking. Billable hours, right? Billable hours. We all have heard that probably. Billable hours. Ask up front whether they bill on an hourly basis, a flat fee, or a contingency basis. Ask it right up front. Mm, gotta know. You're not a bank. You gotta know this right up front. If you currently face a legal issue and need help, tell me what specific types of legal assistance you are looking for. I can help you understand the next step or research options to find qualified legal aid or professionals in your area. And again, you know what? I'm going to bring this up because I use AI all the time, but some of these law firms are getting in trouble because they use AI a lot. Writing their paper, again, I'm not going to get into too much of an issue, but they write their papers and some lawyers is not looking it over. So it's like, this is written by AI. I mean, are they still charging the same amount? Like they did it? Like they're a real person did it? So now that's an issue. Again, I may ask him that next time, but the AI issue is stepping into the law firm. And again, a lot of research stuff is, if they can take care of that in a great way, great. But I think at the end of the day, the lawyer's got to look it over and say, okay, this makes sense. Okay, this makes sense. Now, that doesn't make sense. Got to pull that out. That's not my language. Okay, so stuff like that, they do have to look it over. Even though a lot of that research is very time consuming, well, AI can knock that out. So AI now is a big part of anything. Okay. So, what is your opinion of a lawyer? What is that 80/20 rule for lawyers? Again, I'm just reading this. I'm killing time because I know you want to listen in, but this is something you can find on the internet, and I just did. The 80/20 rule of the principle for lawyers states that roughly 80% of your results come from 20% of the efforts. Wow. The 80/20 rule. For lawyers states that roughly 80% of your results come from 20% of their efforts, cases, or clients. It is a time management and business strategy used to maximize profitability for focusing on high impact tasks and delegating or eliminating the rest. Okay. So yeah, the AI is a big part of what they gotta do. It really is. So it's unfortunate, but like I said, it's at least look it over. At least think about before you present it to somebody that, hey, this is what's going on. Okay. So 80/20 rules, a big part of what the lawyers live by. That's their business model. Let me see here now. Key applications in law. Revenue generation. Approximately 8% of law firms' revenue comes from just 20% of its clients. Isn't that something? I didn't know that. 80% of their revenue comes from 20% of clients. And identifying these high value clients allows attorneys to prioritize relationship building and better serve their most profitable clients. So if somebody who's a multimillionaire looking for a lawyer, boy, these people are jumping on themselves to become that because again, the work's probably the same. They're probably going to do the same kind of work, but they know they're going to get paid. They know that, it's going to be less stress about payment. Because bottom line, they still want to get paid too. Okay. Time allocation and productivity. 80% of valuable legal outcomes and billable hours are produced by 20% of lawyer daily activities, such as case strategy and client development. Isn't that something? The 80/20 rule, guys. Okay. Think about that when you're sitting there trying to get a lawyer. The 80/20 rule is in effect, and that's what they live by. You can't blame them. Okay. Stress and error management. Conversely, 80% of lawyers stress, administrative headaches, or client complaints often stem from just 20% of difficult cases are repetitive repetitive administrative bottlenecks. When that 80/20 rule really covers a lot, that's the first time I've ever heard about that. Okay. Because I'm really not into that lawyer stuff. So, you know, I'm not a lawyer or retainer. I do not. Law firms and solo practitioners use this principle to improve their practice through a few strategic shifts. Task auditing, tracking daily hours, two categories: tasks into high value, litigation, client advising, and low value. Redundant data entry, that's where AI is really going to take over. Redundant data entry, scheduling, buckets. Okay. So the scheduling stuff, AI. Redundant data entry, AI. All right. Delegation and automation, again, AI. Offloading the bottom 80% of routine and non billable tasks to legal assistants, paralegals, or legal technology. Big, huge, huge. Focusing marketing. Oof. When you drive the highways in your state, looking for all those billboards. I know in Arizona, they're all over the place. When you're watching TV tonight, how many commercials on law firms that you will see before you cut the TV off for the night? How many will you see? Focus marketing, pinpointing the 20% of marketing channels that actually bring in the highest quality leads and cutting the rest. The highest quality leads and cutting the rest. That's some kind of philosophy that we use in our marketing to grow our business. You can't make everybody happy. And it's just not very financial sound to sit there and try to make everybody happy. You wind up losing money altogether. So that's the same kind of philosophy we use in marketing and business and stuff. Okay. For more strategy and restructuring your workload, you can explore the American Bar Association guide on law firms. Okay. So that was something, again, our special guest. Hopefully we can get back. Gary Mitchell. He helps lawyer firms to grow. So if you want Gary Mitchell, check it out. Send us an email. We'll fit there and follow that to you because we don't mind. Okay. The Hollis Chapman Show, we get people on. We want to get them exposure so it can help you out. So Gary Mitchell's a great little lead source. If you need to talk to them, they can do that. What is the hardest, before we let you go, what is the hardest crime to prove? That's things interesting. The hardest crime to prove in court is treason. Wow. The hardest crime to prove in a court of law is treason. Largely because the U.S. Constitution sets a exceptionally strict standard that requires either a confession in open court or the testimony of two witnesses to exact same overt act. So treason, hard to prove. If a lawyer sits there and sees that come, I'm sure they're going to go away. That's going to be a lot of time and money invested. However, in the context of everyday criminal law, prosecutors and legal experts generally agree that white-collar crimes like fraud and embezzlement and domestic sexual assault are the most difficult to successfully prosecute. You call the police to your house with domestic violence issues going on, and all of a sudden the person who called changed their mind. Isn't that something? So sometimes when police officers or prosecutors get involved with domestic, they want to get that away. Because by the time they get in court, the two parties might have made up. The two parties may say, oh, this is crazy. But that's a whole other story. I'm not going to misspeak, but I've seen, again, the big story about an NFL player. Charges dropped. It's something. So when you hear domestic assault, sexual assault, yeah, lawyers kind of sometimes run from that. The burden of proof, complex financial crimes. He said, she said. That's a sexual thing, right? Domestic violence. All those three things are tough. Okay. Okay, guys, that's 30 minutes. Okay. I want to give you some kind of content. Maybe we'll get Gary back in the future. I'm not sure about his device because it's hard to sit there and say. But let me let you end this with the Roku promotion.
Authors and small business owners, turn your book and/or your business into a streaming television brand. You wrote the book, you built the business. Now it's time to be seen on Roku and Amazon Fire Television. The Hollis Chapman Show helps authors and small business owners get featured on a professionally produced TV show, appear on Roku and Amazon Fire Television streaming platforms, build authority and credibility, reach new audiences beyond social media, receive in-house marketing support. This isn't just an interview. This is brand positioning. If you're serious about in 2026, let's put your brand on television. Appy now for a featured television plus podcast spotlight. Book your strategy email today.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much for dropping by, listening to Gary Mitchell, the attorney. We'll try to get him on in the future. Okay. Well, again, everybody's learning the Riverside. So apologize, but at least I gave you a little content, some things I didn't know about lawyers, law firms. And Gary'd been in business for 30 years. He helps the law firms grow. That's very important because it's as I drive around, they're fighting for your attention. They're fighting to get clients. So what he does is very important. Thanks for joining us this Saturday, special Saturday. And we're working on getting guests on Tuesday and Friday next week. Okay. So thank you very much. Enjoy FIFA, World Cup, whoever your team is. Go, go, go. And thanks again. Just work with us with this new format we got. And as always, I'll see you next time.